I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, by the way. That's the way it's supposed to be, I guess. Well, a couple of things. I had a request to speak loudly. What if I said to you, what you think does not matter? What if I said to you, your opinion does not matter? What if I said to you, how you feel does not matter? What if I said to you, what you experience matters? What you experience matters. So, when I told John, because basically I just have to go with the flow here, when he asked me, what are you going to do? And then he called me back, and what was in my head was the title, Spiritual Egotism. And then he's like, ooh. I said, I don't know. So, speaking of knowledge, if you separate that word up, God and I play lots of word games because the word itself, inside it, these powerful words have lots of meanings if you just... So if you look at knowledge, K, now, led, G. Does that work? How about willing? Will in, with a capital G, God. I am willing. Interesting. If we don't take things at face value, sometimes they have more value. If we don't take things from the programming we've had in our lives, if we transcend the programming, we transcend what our lessons are. Once we transcend our programming, then we have the lesson. The programming was there not to be mean to you. The programming was there for you to learn from and transcend from our adults, from our society, from our neighbors, from ourselves, from our past lives. That is that's the path back to God, which we've never left. We've never left that place. We just decided to see something in another facet, carve another facet in our raw diamond. And God gives us a diamond in a raw rock. Our experiences get to carve a piece into that soul diamond. Lots of facets. Lots of light reflected from those facets, which are our experiences. We are the hands, the eyes, the body of God. We were given that body to learn from and learn inside of. This capsule is our learning capsule. So we're not here to transcend humanness. We're here to experience humanness. We're not here to say, well, you bad human, I'm better than you. Which is a lot of what we're taught. Like all the human stuff, oh, that's bad stuff. Gotta get away from that. Well, God made it. Why are we trying to get away from it? This is the matter of truth. So when I talk about spiritual egotism, I talk about thinking. And when I teach dancing and music, people teach music, if you're thinking, you're stinking. Because guess what? You'll lose a beat. Each thought equals one beat. Right? So we all are full of the devil. And that's our thoughts. Because our thoughts we get to own up on, and those are our idols. The thoughts are the true idols. Our own little mind thoughts. We get to practice with, but you can't take them too seriously. What's in here, when we're talking about conscience, that's the stuff, that's the brain, that's the God mind, what's in here. So I have a few things to read for you. I'd like to first start with a prayer. Dear God, Help me to allow all my thoughts and ideas to be created by inspiration and wisdom, to consciously apply truth and love to every situation. Lead me to freedom from my negative fears and actions. Help me to know, feel, and form my true mission in this life as part of your spirit and your kingdom here on earth. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as it is in heaven. Amen. You might get sick of this one, but it's my template, I guess. All this comes through me and not of me. What is truth? The answer is in the question, truth is what is. Truth transcends the realm of polarity. It has no opposite. Lies are the language of fear. Truth has a forked tongue, for it is both nectar to the seeker and venom to the darkened. When we look at the eye of Horus, we only see one eye, not two. This image is a visual representation of the singularity of truth. There is no duality and no opposite. There is no polarity to which it is expressed. It does not display aspects of masculine and feminine, for it is singular and universal and applies to the all from the all. Truth is beyond right and wrong, because eventually both paths will lead us to the same place. Truth is, if love is God's presence and grace is God's hand, then truth is God's voice. Mankind's response to this dialogue of truth is pure joy and enlightenment. Universal laws contain an aspect of the truth, but none individually contain the whole truth. There are no bad people or things, but there are many bad ideas. Isn't that the truth? Pray daily to always see the truth in all things, and this will surely set you free. For many of us, our beliefs, mine, me, myself, and I, and philosophies stand for truth. A belief is a concept made up and accepted as truth by the small mind, then clung to like a possession or idol. These beliefs are like leaves on a tree, moved by the wind. But it is not the wind that moves our beliefs, it is truth. Our beliefs are only temporary, as they eventually are blown from our tree, falling to the ground to be replaced by new ones. We are here to learn the whole truth of who we are. So do not be a leaf and cling so hard to old beliefs and ideas. Instead, become a beautiful ship sailing on the sea of faith to great adventures and discoveries. Let us set our sails high, and the winds of truth will surely carry us all home. So when I talk about spiritual egotism, my name is Hans, and I'm a thinkaholic. That's what I'm talking about. No, it's what I think. No, it's what I think. So I believe. No, it's about, to me, that first commandment is not about false gods. It's not about all that. It's about trust. It's about it's about judgment. And if you look at a belief somewhere, if you look at a lot of beliefs, okay, I know this is a tough one, but somewhere in there's a lie, L-I-E. Somewhere there's an opinion, somewhere in there's a judgment that it was based on. So when we say, the thing is when we cling to thoughts and beliefs, we're clinging to the ideas of the small mind, and we're not open to the full voice of our Creator. And this is a big one. This is the hardest one. And then we just give the poor ego a bad rap. Say, well, it's your fault, you stupid old ego. So, would you mind turning the big lights off? Can you still see on your camera? Great. So, I'd like to do a little meditation and visualization. If everybody can take a deep breath, close your eyes. I'm going to ring this, and I want you to follow the vibration until you can't hear it anymore. Okay, so I want you to let's imagine ourselves walking up a beautiful mountain path. And as you get to the end of the path, you see an old cabin. You're like, wow, this is neat. There's nobody around. I'm going to walk into this cabin. The door is not locked. It's open. It's an old dusty cabin. And there's an old dusty mirror in the back of the room. And all of a sudden, in the middle of the room, you see an old radio. I want you to walk up to this old radio. Blow some of the dust off of it. And in the front is a dial. And on that dial is the numbers 1 to 100. And I want you to find your number on that dial and tune it. So you tune in a number. Ask for the number. And when you get that number, remember it. And I want you to look it up later, because that's your message today. And then, so you find the number. And you reach in your pocket, there's a crystal. You go around to the back of that old worn out radio, and you find a spot where that crystal is meant to be. Stick that crystal right in that. That's your receiver. As you do that, all of a sudden that radio lights up, and this beautiful music comes out. That is the sound of your soul. And then you go over to this mirror. And you see this, you wipe off the dust in the mirror, and in front of that mirror is an amazing light being. You can see, you don't see details, but you see an amazing being of light. That is you. And as you see, and you look at yourself saying, wow, that can't be me. That is you. And we hear something rustling in the side of the room. We're like, what is that? What is it? What is that sound? And you see a small child in the corner of the room. It's a little dirty. It's a little ragged. Looks like it's been slightly abused. I want you to walk up to that child. I want you to take that child, stand that child up. That child is your ego. And I want you, in your mind, or out loud, stand that child, dust that child off, clean a little dirt off its face, male or female. And I want you to look at that child and say thank you. And I love you. Thank you for keeping me safe. Thank you for being there for me when I've needed you to protect me and to keep me safe. And I love you. I'm sorry I gave you a bad rap, but I got it from here, and I'll call back on you when I need you, and I will love you for what you teach me and what you've taught me all along. Give that child a big hug. Open the door and let the child go into the wilderness, trusting that that child will be taken care of forever and ever. Amen. As the divine alchemy is sparked within my being, the eyes of my soul reflects the beauty of God's creation, and nature herself becomes my one infinite creator. I came here to learn the art of human beingness, to cut another facet in my soul diamond, so that it will shimmer and reflect back even more brilliantly the light and love of my Creator. So just remember in those times in our lives when we are under pressure that God is helping us co-create and to shape our beautiful souls. Today is the only day, now is the only time, here's the only place for God's eternal grace. And in my heart is my sacred space. When we are born into this sphere, the purity of our presence is very strong. The outer shell of our self-created entity is not yet in existence. We are not a who, a what, or a where from. The power of our presence is strong and magnetic. We are a beautiful canvas of pure potentiality in the spark of divine intent. Fear has not yet settled into our energy field. Judgments have not yet set limits. And belief systems have not yet set parameters on our experiences. Beingness is all we know. The now is where we live. We are a clear mirror of love's presence and the body of joy and hope. So isn't it great that no matter what, we are still the beautiful little God baby? Now it's our turn as practicing co-creators to form our personalities or our personal realities as individuated forms of God mind. As the forgetting starts, our attention is diverted to the senses, emotions, and physical realm. The human experience has begun. We are all along, while we are creating this new story of God as a self, the power of that presence is always only a single breath away. When a person performs, presence is one of the most important ingredients of that moment. Most of the intellect, etc., it's just a computer, must be bypassed in order to more purely communicate our intent to the audience. I call this the 4 M's: music, motion, moment, and magic. These help us communicate our story through the language of the body. God has been teaching me the power of intent and presence through my craft, and it's been a fun and grace-filled dance. So these are a few things I have learned over the years of having an inner body experience. We are all part of the universal mind and being of God's awareness, perception, and experience of Himself. We are God's children having a human experience. I find a paradox in the statement, to think is to be. I am the being that form thought for perception and awareness is much stronger than the essence of being, for we're able to perceive and be aware of our beingness. I believe thinking is a much smaller idea of the all, and is helpful here. The Trinity is created just as the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This is our evolution towards greater co-creation with God. I would compare these to the Son being the conscious mind, the Father being the superconscious, and the Holy Spirit being the middleman, being subconscious or our connector mind. So as I was working on this today, Ahmed Bey stepped in. What is the work of God? To do the work of God is to help humanity, and your inner soul will create a rhythm in your thoughts and actions. No only will people feel that, but you will meet them on their own spiritual level because of the rhythmic vibrations you have set up. On the other hand, when you are moved by the ego consciousness, you move alone and are not in rhythm with the other person or persons. The soul is universal, but the ego is alone. There is only one person like you, but there are billions like your soul. When you look at an individual from an ego standpoint, you are not in rhythm with that individual. But when you look upon an individual and say quietly within yourself, I want to serve you, your ego immediately changes the level of consciousness and becomes in rhythm with that person. Then there is a transmission between the two in the sense of feeling some form of collaboration. As if you are selling a product, that person will want to buy that product. So, I'm going to read you a couple of things from this book. If anybody has any chance to read, go ahead, thank you. Has a chance to read the Gina Lake books, there is that voice of Yeshua, I believe very strongly. This is from the lineage, which is the people that, many of the people or beings, Ascended Masters, Cerebus Bay has been coming in a lot lately. Also, the lineage is Magdalene, Jesus Christ, Mother Mary, the Abraham line. They're very in this a one group, a pod that their essence and their vibration and their voice is coming in stronger and stronger with many, many, many channels. But she is an amazing channel. I'm going to read you a few things from here. The myth of sainthood. There is no perfection in the human form. It is not possible to be perfect because you are not meant to be perfect. It is not part of your design to become perfect as you advance spiritually. Hallelujah! Whew, I was stuck on that one for a while. What I mean by perfect is perfect in your behavior, never getting or feeling angry, always behaving kindly and compassionately, always feeling happy and loving. It is not your fault, no matter how far along the path you are, that you are not always happy or loving or kind and considerate. The human aspect of yourself can assert itself at any time. The ego is never gone permanently as you evolve. The ego falls further and further into the background while the divine self comes forward and becomes what lives your life and what you experience yourself as. How far back the ego falls depends on your spiritual advancement. And yet it is always possible for your ego to come forward again and for the divine self to fall into the background. Message from our big brother, who was very human. You are the conscious living force that emanates the body-mind. Can you feel it? It would be impossible for you not to feel this, not to be aware of this, just as it would be impossible for a fish to not be aware of the water it swims in. Consciousness is the only thing that is here. Consciousness manifesting as you and everything else. This force is all you have ever been and all you will ever be, just pretending to be someone for the fun of it. Yes, God is in this for the fun. Life is fun. Can you feel it? The fun, the joy, the existence, of being able to be alive and experience all that you experience. Life is a gift. If you open to these transmissions, they will help you be more in touch with this joy. We are here to help you know life as we know it, as joyful. We wish for you all love and happiness, and we are grateful for your presence here today. We are with you always. Okay. Anyone, please know that to be of service, all you need is a deep sincerity to serve and an ability to set aside your thoughts for a while you serve. This is what channels do. But you do not have to be a channel per se to serve as a channel for help and healing for others. Once you set aside your thoughts, your inner knowing can take over, and then you will be moved to say and do whatever is needed. Anyone can do this who has enough sincerity and mastery over their thoughts to set them aside for just to listen. Listen to that small voice within, still small voice within, which is not a voice as much as a knowing and an impulse to speak and do. Let this knowing and impulse guide you in your actions and speech. Let it serve others through you. This is what the world needs now, more people with intention and ability to be mouthpieces, arms, and legs for God. For those of us non-physical beings who are dedicated to serve humanity at this time, doing this will be very fulfilling for you. To do this, you first have to believe that you can be of help this way, and you have to have some skill at moving into a state of quiet listening and then responding intuitively to what is wanting to be said and done. You all know how to do this, and many of you are already doing this work. But you can do this more often and more effectively if you actively ask that this be done through you. Make this your prayer to be an instrument of help and healing for others. The reason it is important to ask to be an instrument is that we need permission to use you in this direct way. For it is against our rules to use you as fully as we can without your permission and cooperation. In a sense, you are entering an agreement or a partnership with us, and that has to be acknowledged by you. So for those of you who work with others in your profession or less formally, please invite us or ask us to work through you before you begin working with them, and we will be able to help you serve those people better and more directly. When servers or healers reach a certain level of ability to tune into us and work with us, our work with them can accelerate, but we still need an acknowledgement of their desire for us to work through them. So please be sure to call upon us when you serve others and at any other time that you would like our help. With your conscious cooperation, we can do so much more on earth. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your openness. We are with you always. Thank you.